The crypto market experienced a lot of volatility in the last few days, and the question is, do we get another high or is a bear market starting? In this video we want to compare Bitcoin and Ethereum and we'll take a look at the most relevant levels. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another video by MCO. My name is Ben and today we want to take a look at the Elliott Wave structures of both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I want to compare them. We'll take a look at the ETH BTC chart as well, which means we compare exactly how does Ethereum perform compared to Bitcoin. And before we take a look at the charts, we want to take a look at a very important indicator. Then we'll take a look at the charts. I'll tell you all the levels and my personal opinion as well. I also tell you how I trade this current market structure. Let's go. Okay, so I want to share with you one very specific indicator, which is the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. In one of the recent videos here on this channel, I showed you also a Fear and Greed Index, but there are different ones from different providers. This is the one from Bitcoin Magazine Pro. It is widely used. And earlier this week, it showed a rating of 10 or a value of 10. This is one of the, really lowest levels you can get here on this chart. And we're still in the so-called extreme fear mode, which means sentiment is just extremely bearish. It has recovered a little bit throughout the week and in the last few days, but you can see it down here, it's at 20. From 25 plus, we're entering the fear range. So from extreme fear to fear. And then at some point we'll get into the neutral range, greed and extreme greed. It is a very nice indicator because the most, or let's say the basic emotions that you will find in financial markets, the basic emotions, they are fear and greed. Everything goes back to these two, euphoria that relates to greed. And you just have different levels and you see it on this chart, you could say from dark red all the way up to dark green. And it typically indicates, especially in a bullish market, that when we get extreme fear, there could be a substantial low area, also price-wise. Now, it is not as easy as that. I explained it in the last Bitcoin video on this channel as well, that this indicator is not really one that you can use without referring to price action. And for example, I use the Elliott waves as an important indicator because, see, someone told me, I think in one of the last videos, in the comment sections of one of the last videos, that, a bear market doesn't start in extreme fear, because we now have extreme fear. And so does that mean we cannot start a bear market just because it's extreme fear? No, of course not. Just look at what happened. For example, here in 2021 after the top. We also entered extreme fear ranges or ratings on this indicator. Not directly at the top, of course, but we were here somewhere in between. There's a 24, 25, and also here, this was obviously in 2021. Now that was not really a bear market, but we had a significant downturn of around about 25%. So just because we have extreme fear doesn't mean we couldn't go lower. That's very important to understand, because at some point in these declines, you can't say that every time it hits extreme fear, it will go up. That's absolutely not the case. But in a bullish market, my view, as long as we're holding relevant support levels for a bull market, and we are also seeing oversold conditions across the sector on other indicators, and the Elliott Wave structure still allows for further upside, I think it is still an opportunity. So we have extreme fear. There is no evidence a bear market has started, even though it's of course possible. We'll talk about that in detail. So all I want to say is, just because we have extreme fear doesn't really tell you we go up or we go down. Typically it indicates that a low of sorts is forming, but we have to view it together with the Elliott Wave structures and with price action, which we're going to do now, because here we have a very interesting development on the charts. Now, I want to take a look at the Bitcoin chart from a larger time frame point of view. This is all about understanding what could happen next, where could we end up in a bear market, what kind of correction could be starting, do we get another high? Let me tell you, there are two long-term charts I'm watching for Bitcoin. This is my main chart long term. And you can see that on this chart, the price has formed a 5-wave move to the upside from the 2018 low. And a 5-wave move is typically what we're watching for in a structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As soon as we get 5 waves, we get a large correction, typically. No guarantees, everything that we're looking at here is from a probabilistic point of view. However, we have 5 waves up from the 2018 low. We also have 5 waves up from the 2022 low, indicating we could really get close to a major top. Now this area here is my long-term top area. I defined it at some point in November. You can see the price has already reacted to it really, really strongly. One of the strongest pullbacks we've seen in this entire rally from 2022. So I've been warning for months that we could start a bear market from this region, a large correction, a bear market. We'll take a look at that today. So more upside isn't guaranteed. However, when we take a look at the daily time frame for Bitcoin, and let me see if I actually have it open here. Yeah, if we take a look at the daily time frame for Bitcoin, this is simply just zooming into the structure. This is current price action. If we zoom in, then we can see that the move up from the August 2024 low is only a 3-wave move up. Best I can tell. Best I can tell. That means one more high in this 5th wave of the 5th wave is possible. It's not only possible, everything is possible. Yeah? Not only in financial markets, also in life. Everything is possible. But it's about understanding what is likely. I always say, is it possible? Is it probable? Everything's possible, not everything is probable. Yeah, very important. Think about that or remember that. Now, important is we are still holding support. This is my support area for a bull market. As long as we're holding 69K, simplified, I'm looking for higher prices. Now, we are dealing currently with an oversold market with extreme fear. Typically, that indicates we should get a bounce, we should get a recovery rally. And looking at the relative strength index, not only are we oversold here, yeah, but we also start to see momentum shift on the MACD. Very early days. It might turn to the upside, depends on how the daily candle closes. But we have on the MACD slightly decreasing downside momentum. We have a reversal candle on the daily time frame. We are deep in a support area. We have hit key Fibonacci support for this so-called wave 4 correction, which is a pullback in an uptrend. And we have seen the signal flagged up that I mentioned in one of the previous videos on this channel, a daily RSI oversold. Check it out. You find it on this channel. It's the video that's called an indicator that never fails or something like that. I talked about it only like a week ago and just a week later, and it doesn't happen very often. This signal doesn't show up very, very often. But when it shows up, it is a potential buy signal. But I'm not telling you to buy. Just watch that video, come up with your own conclusions. You have to trade your own plan. But I can tell you that I bought. Yeah. So we'll talk about how I approach the market currently in a minute. But let's first finish up with the chart. So looking at the longer time frame then, yeah, I just shared with you my long-term chart. This is again zoomed out. So as I said to you on the daily time frame, one more high is possible. This is the weekly chart. We just looked at the daily. We only zoomed into this here. So one more high is still, I would say, likely, especially as long as we're holding 69K. 75K is another support level, but ideally we hold that. Ideally we even hold this week's low. Okay, we're oversold, extreme fear, could get another high. That's expected. If we do 120, 130K, I would say at the moment we can refine that as we go along, but that's currently the view. Now, what most people are interested in, what happens next? What happens next? So I just told you expectations are for one more high. Okay, if we don't get it, the minimum requirements for this larger uptrend are fulfilled. We talked about that in detail as well. So let's talk about what would happen after a major top. So I'm not calling for a top yet. I would still like to see that one more high, but I can tell you that I'm tracking the microstructures very, very closely at the moment. So let's assume we get one more high. The upcoming correction on this chart tells me we get a major correction because a major third wave rally will get corrected. And this will likely unfold as an A wave, which will be a rapid decline. I assume that might be an impulse or a very, very impulsive looking decline. then we get a B wave rally, that's the counter trend move, and then a C wave down. So a few things to mention here. This A wave, I want to be a buyer in this area. Okay, I'm not going to panic. This is going to be what I prepare by, for example, raising cash, putting some cash aside, by preparing for it, not only financially, but mentally. So this could be a drop, 50K, maybe 40K, could be quite rapid, instant flush. My view, yeah, you can't really predict how a correction will play out, but that's what I assume. And I think a lot of people will be caught off guard. Why so fast? Because the move up from the August low is a diagonal pattern. Typically at the end of a diagonal, we get a rapid decline. Then a B wave rally, that can even overshoot, which means it could go above previous highs. So it might even make a new all-time high, similar to 2021. That happened here as well in 2021. And then a C wave that can take a year or two. I mean, that would be a major correction. Before you ask, I can't really tell you where we will end up. It's going to be difficult to say. 30K, 20K. It really depends on how high the B wave goes. You can't say. But I want to make sure it's understood that there's a high likelihood this will be a multi-year bear market that could start from this high, but the B wave will be an opportunity which I intend to trade. Okay, so before we go to the next chart, how will I approach this? Well, I will buy the A wave with an intention to trade the B wave. However, if it becomes clear it's not a B wave, but it's an impulse, it's something much more bullish, which is not part of a correction, which I'll show you on the next chart, I intend to take only little profits. So if it becomes clear it's a B wave, which we should see because B waves are choppy, messy, then I will take more profits on the way up. Yeah, but I intend to buy the fear of this drop. Then let's take a look at the second chart, which is a more bullish interpretation. In this case, we have a very similar structure from the same structure from the 2022 low. Just the interpretation of the weekly chart is different. Here, the 5-wave move up that started in 2022 is not ending something. No, it is starting something. It's starting a larger 5-wave move. And in this case, we have 5 waves up, 3 waves down, and we would continue with a 5-wave move up. So, and this is exactly why I want to buy that immediate sell-off, because there is a chance it will be a setup for a major 3rd wave rally. For me, it doesn't matter if it's a B wave rally or a 3rd wave, we won't know in advance. It's about understanding these two potentials. Okay, can we come up with a strategy that allows me to profit from both of these scenarios? And yeah, I would buy that dip. I'm not gonna try to time the exact low, yeah. But in the same way I bought the 2022 low, yeah, there's likely going to be a catalyst. There might be really bearish news at the end. Typically, when the most bearish news hits, it could be a low. That happened 2022 as well when FTX collapsed, yeah, the exchange. So this would be a smaller correction, but it would be what on the other chart the initial A wave would be the wave 2 here. This is an estimate at the moment. This support area 23.5K to 52K. And it could take us to 300K and beyond afterwards. So definitely an opportunity is there to trade that. So I will buy this dip. Whether it's called the A wave or the wave 2, these two scenarios move together, and they will only diverge from each other when we go up and approach new all-time highs. Yeah, because one of them will just rally through in a 3rd wave that should be very aggressive. The other one will likely fail. And so yeah, it's about managing stops, managing risk on the way up. So these are the 2 Bitcoin long-term charts. How am I trading Bitcoin at the moment? So my approach so far in this decline has only been to accumulate, not major positions. For me, it's about keeping it small until we have a confirmed low. So I bought a little at 88K. 88K spot. Okay, I bought a little more at around 83, and I bought even more at around 79. Okay, so in the decline. Did I communicate that? Yeah, in our crypto community, I communicated that. I always tell people shouldn't copy me, but I communicate it because everybody should trade their own plan, right? But this was based on the signal that I showed you before, the daily RSI oversold, purely based on that, because I assume there's still a chance for a bounce, whether we're already in a bear market or not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care, because either way, the signal, the daily RSI is telling me we should get a bit of a bounce. Yeah, even and the red scenario here on the daily chart shows you how the correction, the larger correction could unfold that I just showed you on the larger time frame. Even if it's bearish, we should get this B wave, A wave down, B wave up, maybe even to the 105, 106K area, maybe even to all-time highs, because a B wave can overshoot. But then I would probably call it the fifth wave in white. So I speculate that this is happening. More aggressive trades? Well, if we see a decent setup to the upside, like a so-called 1-2 setup, I'm considering a long trade in futures as well. Now let's take a look at the Ethereum chart. I want to show you Ethereum as well, the long-term chart, compare that with Bitcoin. We'll also take a look at the ETH BTC chart at the end to see, is there a chance for Ethereum actually to outperform Bitcoin? So if you want to see that, stay tuned. Ethereum, I mean, I covered Ethereum in one of the videos here like a week ago or so on the long-term chart. But if we compare Bitcoin and Ethereum, then you can see that on the longer time frame chart here, this is the daily chart, Ethereum has not really performed in such an impulsive way as Bitcoin. You don't see impulsive movements to the upside. They are so-called corrective rallies. This could still form one more high, but it would be a so-called diagonal pattern. What I don't like is just the angle of this move. It just looks so corrective. Look at how it developed in 2020, 2021. Really aggressive. This year is very, very weak, and there's a good chance of rolling over. So I need that one more high on this chart to really call it the 5-wave move in the white scenario. The problem is if we break below certain support levels, and that's here the 1790 area, then it is very likely that Ethereum never finished the bear market of 2022. And what I was tracking as a 5-wave move as the primary scenario, which could get one more high to new all-time high, is likely just a B wave rally. So A wave down, B wave, C wave down. Not my preferred outlook at the moment, but below 1790, this becomes very, very probable. There's going to be one support area in between that could still allow the price to find support here between 1250 and 1436. But this is not going to be a scenario that I trust. How would this look like? It would be a large diagonal pattern. The problem with diagonal structures is they are difficult to predict because diagonals are made up of corrective wave structures in between, in the subwaves. There will be a tutorial on this channel about diagonals at some point. So subscribe if you want to learn more. But the main takeaway would be, yes, we have a wave 1, yes, we have a wave 2, but this is the A wave of the third wave. This is a B wave, which can be deeper than the wave 4. Then we get the C wave of wave 3. So the third wave that presumably topped in February is going to shift higher. Then we get the 4, then the 5. So it's just an extended version. I wouldn't trust this, especially given where Bitcoin is in the cycle. Now let's take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, because I know a lot of you are interested in that. And why is this so important and interesting? So a lot of people are actually waiting for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin. Now, instead of just saying because this has always happened, because a lot of people are like, okay, Ethereum has always outperformed Bitcoin in any cycle, this has to happen, okay? I haven't done that. I have said throughout the entire cycle, let's just look at the ETH BTC chart. We have the Elliott Wave structures. We have very important support levels. We have scenarios. There's no need to rush. There's no need to assume Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin. No, if it does, we will see it. We will spot it on this chart. And this chart, I base it on a long-term uptrend, but it's questionable because the initial rally here on this chart is in 3 waves. It's an ABC structure. That is not clearly bullish. A 3-wave top in Elliott Wave doesn't indicate a long-term uptrend. I did decide to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt, but we have to proceed with caution whenever we see a 3-wave rally, because it could be wave 1 of a diagonal, absolutely, but it's not high probability. Then this was a wave 2 in 2019. This year could be the A wave of the third wave, pull back, and then the next could be a C wave. So there is a chance from here for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin, but this is not an absolute prediction because this is not based on an upside impulse. This is all corrective. So while we are deep in support with support at 0.023, I want to see a signal on the smaller time frame that Ethereum is starting. This is a key spot. It could do that in the last rally of this bull market, maybe, but there's no evidence for it at this stage, okay? And I can tell you that should we just drop and drop and drop lower, especially also a sustained break below the support here at 0.023, we will likely enter a much larger correction with support all the way down to 0.003, which is significant. Yeah. Now, that being said, how would the microstructure for this look like? It would be an A wave down, a B wave up, and a C wave down most likely. And we're in the C wave down and would not expect any, Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin in this cycle. Yeah. So this would allow for much more downside. Certainly, it should be a break below the September 2019 low at 0.015. So that means I am watching for signals that Ethereum could outperform Bitcoin. I don't expect it though until I see a first so-called 1-2 setup to the upside in the wave C to the upside. Yeah, that would be like this: wave 1, wave 2. I want to see that, and then we do this. So, and then the third wave could be a trade, or yeah, but it's not going to be reliable until we really see that. I mean, any decent upside momentum could be interesting, but it really will only become reliable when we get the 1-2 setup. So 5 waves up, 3 waves down in the wave 2. So that means Ethereum has been weak, and there is still a chance for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin, but without the signals on the chart, there's no need to rush, right? There's no need to, let's say, sell BTC to buy ETH, which a lot of people have done in the mid stages of the cycle, which hasn't helped them. So we always want to focus on the data. What do we see right now? We don't want to make our decisions based on assumptions, right? It's about reward and risk, which is not necessarily an assumption. It's just mathematics, and based on what we see right now, which is a downtrend. So we don't want to really buy into a downtrend. Okay, yeah, that's the update about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Hope you liked it. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments which other topics are you interested in, also relating crypto, but maybe stocks, other asset classes. And any comment helps. Any comment helps to get this channel boosted, and also share the video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.